So, because my audio was borked while recording volume 1 and no other volume for some reason, I will be doing something different this time around. I will do a summary of my experience while trying to intercut bits and pieces of my playthrough within it. If this change of video type doesn't work out, well, don't worry, this is only for this circumstance. And if you do enjoy this type of style enough to want it as a norm, then I'm sorry to disappoint you. Regardless, let's head on into it. We come back to the MSPA reader, trying to explain to Theseus about how they got there and what their plan is to either escape to the locked timeline that MSPA reader set up, or cause some chaos by messing with things anarchy style. Theseus is understandably still pissed at us for jumpstarting everyone's lives for the better, and then pissing off like a father going out for milk and cigs for about 3 years. Theseus narrows her eyes.
Safe? You think that safety is something I care about anymore?
Yes? No? You're not sure what answer she's looking for, honestly.
I'm not looking for anything from you. I just want to know why you thought you could show up here like nothing changed.
Stelsa comes into play and loves the idea of simply leaving Alternia behind and living it up with her girlfriend, but Theseus still has a good number of irons in the fire that she can't just up and leave like that. We also learn that she and Daria haven't been in communication with each other in a year or so, and it's visibly upsetting her that she can't talk to her for reasons we don't entirely know yet. Speaking of that, you ask how Daria's doing. You meant to ask before you felt bad about... Oh. Theseus' face doesn't look happy.
I don't know how Daria is, because I haven't been able to talk to her in a sleep. And I've got some other stuff going on. A lot of other stuff, as a matter of fact. And I don't think you'd actually understand what it's like.
Before we have time to inquire further, the conversation is interrupted by Tagora walking into the fold. He's needed to talk to Theseus privately, so MSPA reader goes to explore the ship when they run across Gallic. After friendly greetings, we learn that he and Tagora are planning a type of hate wedding soon, as well as Gallic coming into a type of government job, but he's very secretive about telling you what it entails. His palm husk goes off like crazy, and he has to be somewhere, but not before saying that you are welcome to walk about the majority of the ship as you please, provided we don't bother other people. Which we already did, so... whoops. After a few minutes of wandering, we happened upon the cargo hold, with a suspiciously open door to the airlock. Snooping into the airlock, we found ourselves a body of the unalive variety. And then you notice that the airlock at the far end appears to be open. Cautiously approach the airlock. This is probably just a mundane thing. Probably nothing to worry about. Oh, no. Knowing what usually happens when we get too nosy for our own good, opting for not messing with the body is the better option here. Quickly afterwards, we bump into Tagora again while he was loitering around the cargo hold. The man's was acting a bit sus when we confronted him, and naturally I had to make the joke come full circle. You can't help but notice that Tagora seems to be acting in a way that is especially suspicious. Wait a minute. We're in a spaceship? Someone's been murdered? Oh my god! Gallic and Theseus quickly show up soon after, looking for Tagora for a reason that is soon cut short by Gallic noticing the airlock open as well as the dead body inside. He quickly pins suspicions on Tagora being a rebel spy, but doesn't kill him on the spot because of his pitched feelings. Instead, he locks Tagora up in a spare office until he can mentally go through with flatlining his own kismesis. The MSPA reader suggests doing a trial to prove Tagora's innocence the Earth way, and Gallic agrees, but in a I'm only letting you do this because I don't have it in me to kill this guy yet sort of way. We are given the run of the ship to do some ace attorney detective work, question witnesses, look for evidence, and all that jazz. We head over to the office first, and after interacting with everything that is possible to interact with, as well as a program on the computer called Vital Track that we can't access but will be important later, we interrogate Tagora. After Gorgor tells us fuck all, we head to the bridge to find Gallic and ask him a question or three. He is convinced that Tagora did it, but is still hesitant, and tells you to find the Teal Bloods on the observation deck for more lawyer-like inquiries. When we get to the observation deck, we catch Theseus and Stelsa mid-conversation about how there was no way that Tagora killed anybody, but Stelsa was still unsure about it. We get down to interrogation time. We find out that Alternia seems to be phasing out the honorable tyranny because of the lower birth rates of them nowadays. Now they just ice you on the spot if you do anything of the more mundane crimes. So that's quote-unquote nice, I guess. Another thing Tisius tells us is to check the master respite block or bedroom for more clues since we have clearance from Gallic earlier. We also can't do a Maya Fae and commune with the deceased spirit to ask who killed them since we don't have the troll equivalent of a Fae with us.
Also, we're not entirely sure what creates these ghosts, but they're not always present and require a certain kind of psychic to be able to talk to.
So in other words, what you're saying is we need a Fae. Gotcha.
And we haven't seen any evidence of a ghost here.
No, well, that kind of sucks. Now that we talked to the dynamic duo, we head over to the airlock, but MSPA Reader is too much of a wuss to investigate the scene of the crime, so we head instead over to the master respite block. Inside, we rummage around and find a hate marriage contract in a drawer and make note of a shower room as well. We head back to Gallic and show him the contract, much to his displeasure. He has suspected that Tagore may be cheating on Gallic with someone else. Combined with his distant emotions lately, it's on these grounds that he suspects Tagore of the murder. After this revelation, we dart back to Tagore and tell him what we have learned. Naturally, he wasn't cheating on him, and the reason he was down by the cargo bay was because he needed to talk to Tisius without Gallic knowing to look over the marriage contract and discuss the added conditions to the document. To validate his statement, he gives you his palm husk, as well as finally getting access to your court record. This gives us the chat log between him and Tisius about the hate marriage contract. After looking at the Palm Husk's version of Twitter for 12 minutes in between recordings, I head on back to the observation deck where we account Tisius and Stelsa about the records we found and the conversation that Tisius and Tagore had. Once the situation got too awkward to stick around in, we head over to the bridge again and talk to Gallic to try to make him understand that Tagore was not pitched with someone else, but he's not having any of it. He's saying that Tagore found out about the hate marriage contract and felt like it was unfair to him, so he was trying to figure out what way to nullify the contract. He was messaging Tisius around the time of the murder.
Patently absurd. The only reason I made the contract in the first place was because of Tagore. He's clearly involved in something. I'm just not sure what.
I like that. Patently absurd. I'm gonna use that. That's cool.
I have to protect myself.
And with that, we have enough evidence to start the trial. Before the trial starts, I want to say that considering the work put into this bleeding summary, why not return the favor and give the video a like? And while you're here, why not subscribe if you're enjoying my content? Don't forget to drink water, get yourself a snack if needed, and let's get right into the first trial of the volume. Let's rock! Round 1,
I think
fight!
it's clear enough what happened here. My Kismesis here was involved in black solicitations with someone else. He was always acting in a secretive manner, hiding his pitch affair from me. I never thought it would extend to murder, and yet here we are.
Look, some of the stuff he's saying doesn't make sense. You should press him on it to uncover inconsistencies, and then you can show evidence that pokes holes in his story. Just be careful. If you show a bunch of random shit, you'll end up pissing him off. But
Fair enough.
Don't worry about asking for more information. The only way that'll hurt you is if you keep pushing the issue again and again.
Okay, so don't press on the same issue too often. You know, this makes sense. You're ready to get back over Gallic's statement and really get in there. Really get up to your elbow in bullshit. Actually, wait, no, that sounds really gross. You're just gonna do a bunch of last Waiter stuff. We pressed Gallic on the validity of his assuredness on who killed the crewmate because of his suspicions on Tagore not being faithful. He amends his statement. We then press him on the second statement. After getting annoyed, he amends his statement once again, as well as my annoyance when the game doesn't use the correct voice clips from his attorney. Hold it! Wait a minute, you say. That's not the whole story, is it? What if...
Stop being so obtuse. You know very well that there's no reason for his strange behavior other than infidelity. I believe it was a pitch affair because what other reason would he have to act distant towards me?
What other reason? Also, I hate, by the way, that there's not a fucking hold it voice line for the press, and just the objection for evidence. That's annoying. This has really soured my whole entire experience now. I've gotten blue-balled by this fucking game, and it hasn't even been past the first fucking chapter, bro. God damn it. Finally, we pressed the final statement, saying if the victim was even killed at all and may have just played too much League of Legends and may have just died of cringe or whatever, Once more, Gallic amends his testimony. After messing up 3 times because I am good at detective games, honest, we present the Kismesis agreement on the second statement. He then asks us to elaborate on what he failed to realize, to which I then present the wrong piece of evidence, and fail. Well, fuck. It doesn't matter because it's gone. Summary execution. I fucked up! No problem, no problem. We all have our off days, and this is my first time doing a trial in this world's logic. I'm not coping, I'm being completely honest. So after messing up twice again, fishing for what to present, I choose Gallic's own statement against him. I guess so. In his own words, the argument that he had with Tagore earlier, obviously Tagore didn't think that the contract was just standard.
You're goddamn right I didn't.
Very well. I'll admit that Tagore might have had some legitimate reason to be upset.
As in, referring back to the argument that Tagore and I had, which has been entered into evidence. Cool. I'm glad that it took me 2 fucking tries to get this right. Bro, I am washed!
You bald-sucking pile of... You were trying to treat me like some kind of pet.
That is essentially incorrect. Besides,
Round 2. Fight!
it doesn't matter what his feelings were, because Tagore was still in the area at the time of the murder. He had plenty of opportunity to commit the murder and cover his tracks. As much as I hate it, I don't see any evidence to the contrary.
Something's still not right. If you can figure out where the contradiction is, maybe we can actually convince him that Gorgor is innocent.
Firstly, we press his beginning statement, wondering how he sounds so sure about the time of death. He concedes that all ship personnel are equipped with an implanted biomonitoring system called Vital Track, the program we saw earlier in the office that Tagore was kept in. We then press him again, saying that it was too quick of a job to kill, then hide the evidence that you did it within the span of a few minutes. Gallic amends his statement once more. Presenting the chat logs in the first statement gets us somewhere, since with Tagore talking to Tisius during the time of the murder, he couldn't have killed the crewman. After presenting the Vital Track time of death record, we have completed the first trial. Gallic stands there stunned. His mouth is opening and closing. For once, he's actually speechless.
There. Are you satisfied I didn't fucking kill anyone? I swear to Empress, you're the worst sometimes.
Well, this was a massive waste of time. Can we actually try to figure out why there's a dead body in your airlock?
Unfortunately, Gallic is still paranoid to hell and back and sees that Tisius has ample time to commit the murder. Somehow. You're still watching Gallic's face when something clicks behind his eyes, something you're not liking the look of.
Wait a minute. The logs cleared Gorgor of any involvement in this.
Oh, so it's Gorgor again now.
But you...
Looking right at Tisius, and his hand is straying inside his coat pocket yet again.
Of course. It was the perfect opportunity. While Gorgor was distracted, you made your move. I don't know what your endgame was, but you let yourself slip on this one.
An active imagination this guy's got.
What the fuck are you talking about? Are you seriously accusing me now?
You quickly jump in between Gallic and Tisius and throw out your hands. Wait, you know this looks bad, you guess. Honestly, you're not really following Gallic's logic anymore on this. I don't think anyone is but himself. But doesn't he want to find out what actually happened? Gallic reacts a little bit, which is probably a good sign.
Fine. I'll give you a chance to make your case.
Back on the grind, now helping another Teal Blood escape conviction. Good grief, you'd think this guy would chill the fuck out, but I guess not. Something's eating away at our little indigo friend, but we don't know what. The best we can do is help out Tisius, just like with Tagore. We head back into the guest respite block to meet with Tisius again and see how she's doing. Not great, as anyone can guess. From what we gather, she obviously didn't kill anybody. We also get a stern talking to because MSP Reader overstepped no boundaries.
Evasive. Really? You think my unwillingness to talk to a near stranger who's jumped in to make wild promises about saving me is evasive?
Well, now, that's not fair. You knew each other. You were friends, practically Moirails. Tisius' eyes burn white hot with a barely concealed rage.
Don't you dare say something like that. I have a Moirail, and she's worth more on her worst day than you'll ever be on your best.
Okay, ouch, that stings a little bit. So you basically introduced them to each other.
So, should I be grateful because you did one good thing for me before you vanished?
She sighs and her shoulders slump.
You know what? It doesn't matter. I always got a weird feeling about you anyway, so this isn't really a big surprise.
Huh? Oh, hell no. This lady did not just... Oh, brother. Yeah, you land one little conviction of murder, and all of a sudden she wants to... You're out for blood. You're public enemy number one. Okay, buddy. Fucking cry, okay? Fuck you. Oh, god damn. This sucks. This sucks that these are essentially... These people essentially barely don't know you. They know you on such a surface level. You have put yourself into their lives for only such a short amount of time to give them a pep talk, essentially, or to do something really crazy, and then you dip. That's it. You know? Like, that's pretty much it. Which, I will admit, it does kind of suck. And I did say before that the MSPA reader being a flake when it comes to friends was not was not, like, glanced over. I saw that shit. But damn, this hurts. The repercussions of their actions have caught up with them. After leaving Tisius to her own devices, we head over to the bridge to speak with Gallic once again. He is, again, condemning the suspected party without even thinking about alternatives, and generally not doing much despite this being his shift that someone got murked on. We leave him and go to the observation deck, where we chance on Tagora. He too doesn't have much else to say, other than he's relieved that he's not on trial, but doesn't really give a shit about Tisius, this situation, despite him putting her into a situation in the first place. These two really are made for each other. Deciding to go to the airlock, we find Stelsa loitering around the crime scene. Stelsa is worried about her girlfriend, but assumes that it would have been all the other things she got up to that would have done her in. Like whatever backdoor business she was dealing with in the wee hours that she refused to talk about with her mate spirit.
Oh, Zizi. I always thought that you'd end up working yourself to death. All those long hours spent studying for the coolest bar, or preparing for work, or whatever it was you were always off doing on your own.
Wait, what was that last bit? Stelsa shrugs and looks away.
I don't know. Zizi was always out at odd hours doing something she refused to talk about. I trust her and all, but I also worry about her.
Huh? Intrigue. Take notice of the blood patterns, the amount of blood, as well as the absence of any sharp object within the toolbox despite the victim losing loads of blood from a gash to the neck. Once we finish up our investigative poking and prodding around, we visit Tisius once more to talk about Stelsa's worry. She tells us what she's been doing the past 3 years while MSPA reader was gone.
Well, the truth is, I haven't been telling Stelsa about everything.
Oh no, is she on Stelsa? It's not kind of complex quadrangle and with another woman?
What? No, why would I ever do that? I've been in touch with the rebels for over a sweep now.
Oh, that's... Well, honestly, that's significantly worse in a lot of ways. Why couldn't it just have been rare? Why couldn't it have just been a relationship drama?
Yeah, well, you introduced me to my Morrill, and one thing kind of led to another.
Oops, all revolutions.
I ended up talking to some of the rebels, sending them information.
Have we ever met any of the rebels before? I don't think we have. Oh no, and Stelsa doesn't know.
I think she suspects something, but she doesn't know what. I'm less worried about my mate Spirit and more worried about Gallic. You know he's Alternian intelligence, right?
You seem to remember Stelsa mentioning it at some point.
Well, that's where I'm at. Unless you can pretty definitively prove I didn't kill anyone, I'm basically dead.
Let me say as well that the profession Spy Masters is raw as fuck. Gallic's new job at least has a cool ass title to go by, so we go to talk to him about it. Again, much to his chagrin.
Alternian Intelligence Service, or AIS, was founded over 50 sweeps ago by her imperious condescension to fill the gap left by the Legis lacerators and the military. While the Legis corpus is primarily concerned with daily administrative matters and specific legal issues, we are responsible for gathering and analyzing intelligence that could potentially benefit the Empire.
Oh, neat. You see, in your world, the intelligence services mostly do a bunch of extremely underhanded shit to try and maintain a system of imperialistic control, built largely on the collective fear of government reprisal that looms over every citizen's head literally all the time.
Oh, yes. Of course. I was merely simplifying for someone less familiar with our culture.
Well, shit. Well, alright. So, I ended up missing vital clues in the guest respite block and went back there to look in the nightstand for some papers that seemed like case reports or some such rubbish. We also take notice that while there is a recouper-coon in the guest bedroom, there is no shower to speak of. Talking to Tizzius about this gleans that the only shower is in the master respite block, as well as a lovely joke from Tiz.
Oh, an ablution block. There's one in the master respite block. For the fucking high blood and his kismesis. Not us, though. Not the fucking peasants. I miss just being in the hot water. It's relaxing.
Yeah, not being able to take a shower sucks. You wouldn't even be able to wash yourself off if you got all sweaty or something.
You know me. Always getting all sweaty.
Huh?
You want to explain that real quick? Hold on. Stop blushing. Stop blushing. Stop.
You know what? Sex joke successfully landed. That's how you know she's the GOAT. And with that, we have all the evidence that we can glean from this investigation time. It is trial time for the second time. Another little intermission here. This entire video up to this point is the culmination of about an hour and 30 minutes. The last few parts coming up are all one recording, since when I got to the 50-minute mark, I thought I was almost done with the volume. Cut to this last part being another hour and 50 fucking minutes. I was struggling, not gonna lie. Lawyer battle, round 1. Fight!
I believe that I've been quite clear in the matter. There is nothing that exonerates Legis Lacerator and Tick. She is clearly and unequivocally the murderer here. She had both the means and the motive to kill, so she clearly did.
Well, this is certainly a sticky situation you found yourself in.
Wait, why is Tagore here again? You look over and narrow your eyes. You're not entirely sure Tagore is exactly the kind of person you want on your side for this one. What happened to Stelsa?
Oh, she's quite distraught over the impending execution of her mate spread. Really not in any shape to help anyone right now.
Tagore shrugs and grins, and you think right now he's just happy to not be dead.
I won't even charge you extra for this.
Well, thanks. Oh, how incredibly generous of him. You struggle to even comprehend the depth of his generosity, or the sarcasm of your previous statement. I'll be honest and say that pressing on this testimony felt pretty useless. All you, my dear viewers, need to know is that I lost a life because I pushed the subject twice when I did not mean to, and that you need to present Stelsa's statement in Statement 3 of Gallic's testimony. We then get the thermal sensor records, despite the game saying twice that I had already had the vital track records when I didn't. Free game, by the way. We call up Stelsa to the stand to testify. Round 2. Fight!
That is completely correct. There's no possible way that Tizzius could have murdered anyone. After all, she was with me the entire time, in our respite block. Besides, you know that she was just talking to Tagore the whole time. I think I'd know if my own mate sprit was going around plotting murders after all.
Oh, oh, Stelsa, why would you, oh, man, no. Stelsa, your testimony's like Swiss cheese, bro, it's full of holes. Oh, no, I'm gonna have to reveal all this, aren't I?
Well, this is certainly interesting.
God, please stop trying to help Soror.
So, her testimony's full of holes. So much so that I didn't even get a chance to press all of her statements. Poor girl. Round 3. Law off!
As it stands, there are a number of quite simple facts in this case, all of which are indisputable with any kind of evidence. Number 1. Miss Entik has no solid alibi for the time of the murder, given that her only defense is the unreliable testimony of her mates. Number 2. Miss Entik had more than enough time to commit a brutal murder. Number 3. As previously stated, there is no possible evidence that Miss Entik was not the murderer. All signs point to her being there in the airlock, killing without remorse.
Are you for real, my guy?
He's right.
You stared at Tizzius. What the hell is she talking about? You know that she didn't randomly murder someone. She's a lot of things, but a killer ain't one of
How do
them.
you know? Maybe I've changed more than you think in the last few sweeps.
What the actual fuck are you doing, Tizzius? Hello? Stop with this angst shit. I'm trying to help you. She sighs and shakes her head, and you don't know what you're supposed to even say to her. You already got the sense that this is all a lot heavier than you were used to before, but this is diving right into downright depressing.
If you've got some secret trick up your oversized hoodie sleeve, now would be the time to use it.
Yes, it's called Glock 17.
After pressing all statements, the fourth one we present with the blood splatters being too abundant to ignore. Gallic asks for evidence to substantiate the previous evidence, so we present the fact that Tizzy's room does not have a shower to wash off any potential blood.
Well, the body in the airlock had blood all over the place. You very distinctly remember lots and lots and lots of blood.
So what? She obviously washed herself off before she was discovered. She had plenty of time to do it.
With what, my brother in Christ? With what? Fucking got him.
Oh my god, he's a fool. He's a fool. He is a fool! Thundercross split attack. He's a fool! Of course, but how? You see the recognition dawning on Gallic's face.
Of course. The only evolution chamber is in my own respite lock.
Gallic's mouth hangs open as he stares at you, and you think that this is probably the first time in a while he's felt stupid. Across from Tizzy starts to laugh.
Oh my god.
I love her laugh. She burst out
You're
laughing.
right. Stoltz was so annoyed that we couldn't wash off, but... Looks like I'm in the clear, Gallic. Unless you think I magically made the blood disappear.
You're right. If you had killed the individual in question, there would have been an overwhelming amount of blood. And yet you remain spotless.
Damn right. He sighs heavily.
Regis Lacerator and Tick, I believe I owe you an apology.
And then that wraps up the second trial of the volume. Pretty quick. Gallic then pulls us aside to tell us that he is under a lot of pressure from multiple sides with his job at intelligence service. Despite this, his maintenance worker was still killed, and we are no closer to finding the truth of the matter. He's convinced that no matter who did it, he is the main one that this hypothetical murderer is really after. So as the only pure outsider in the situation, MSPA Reader has been officially tasked with finding out the identity of this killer and reveal the truth. Figure this out, and he will pull a few strings and get them off the Imperial kill list. We got a job to do. I'll hop on to it. Starting with the bridge, we firstly talk to Gallic. The reason he feels targeted is because since he's a part of Alternian intelligence, anyone who is or feels wronged by the government, which is most trolls in the system, usually want to tear it down, and since Gallic is supposed to protect the system, he too is also a target. After finding out that he has no leads for us to follow, we waltz to the observation deck and snoop in on a conversation with Stelsa and Tagora, of them talking about how their partners are both stubborn, but Tizzy acting like a workhorse and shining bright but burning quick, and Gallic being so headstrong and quick to conclusions that he doesn't think at all about the alternatives. We dip out of there just in time for Stelsa to exit without her noticing, and we get a heartwarming scene in the same vein. A shame we were just eavesdropping on her conversation like an asshole.
Oh, it's you again.
That warning says this is hugging you. Oh my god, she's so cute. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I just can't thank you enough for what you did back there. I was so sure I was going to lose Zizi forever. And then, what would I do? I can't go through life without my main spread. It's unthinkable at this point.
My heart. My heart. Oh my god, this is too cute. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I eavesdropped in. That was very rude of me. Let's go and steps back, wiping her eyes frantically. She's so adorable. Tizzy doesn't know how good she's got it. Oh, she's so adorable. She's too pure for this world.
Once Stelsa leaves, Tagora beckons MSPA Reader to come back to the deck. We inquire about the whole leaving Alternia behind and living it up in MSPA Reader's locked timeline where things are not as god-awful as they are now. Tagora won't leave without Gallic, and Gallic needs to be convinced that someone is legitimately out to kill him, even if we have to make up a hypothetical killer to convince him to leave. He also makes a very specific call out to Kanya and Vriska somehow.
Tagora sighs and shrugs.
Aw, you're lying. And we'll end up sitting around in a cave playing games with a jade blood and fancy casual wear, and a cerulean with a series of sexual hang-ups involving pirates.
Does he know?
So now, we question him for real this time. He gives us some lore about his job being a showmaster, and how we need to be theatric to convince Gallic, and other than some quadrant talk, that's pretty much it. What a wealth of information this guy is. Well, that was not helpful in the slightest. Might as well head on back to the crime scene and see if the reader can stomach poking around without becoming ill. Luckily, Tisius appears, talking about something being off about this crime scene, and that she thinks we're smart enough to figure it out, which may or not be a mistake. She then leaves for her room, and we get down to business.
Something about this control panel gives you a very important vibe. It's not the key to any number of mysteries. Sadly, you also have no clue how to work any of it. Maybe you should come back later. Some of this kind of user manual or handy instruction guidebook on how to use this. The bloody hand providing the control panel and operates the airlock. Judging by the blood and the maintenance workers' gloves, it must have been left by them. So you guess that they didn't die right away then. That's actually pretty disturbing. The body's still lying there, basically untouched from the last time you checked in on it. That wound in the throat is looking more and more suspicious. Something I feel so random. It doesn't seem like it was done deliberately at all, more like the result of something chaotic and unpredictable. You're sure there are clues around here that will make the picture a little cleaner. Wait, weird, there's blood splattered on the airlock door. That doesn't seem to make any sense for a murder inside the airlock. And the blood running on the floor seems too spread out to be just the result of a spray from the wound. You don't know what any of this means, though. It seems really important. Oh, did his throat get smashed within the airlock? If the airlock was still open, then that would make sense. Off to the one side, there's a toolbox lying open. While the box itself is tethered to a nearby wall, it appears there's some things might be missing from the box itself. If only you can find some kind of record that lets you know what was missing.
After we find out everything we're going to find at the moment, we head to the guest room where Stelsa and Tisius are. After eavesdropping once again on another conversation about Stelsa getting fed up with Tisius doing so many things that could get her killed, even if it was for a good intention, the reader gets caught and Tisius wants to speak with us alone. Instead of getting lambasted because of their nosy nature, Tisius wanted to talk about not leaving Alternia behind. Wanting to help others that are suffering under the Empress's rule instead of pissing off to another timeline where she can't do shit. She also mentions why she's even here, because a rebel contact mentioned that they saw signs that Gallic's loyalty to the Empire is wavering. Not only that, but odds are that the contact that made the discovery is the now dead victim. I then have a brain blast and piece how this whole divide is going to shape out.
Also, I'm thinking here, the dichotomy that Tisius wants to stay, Gallic probably wants to stay and fight the Empress, but Tagora wants to leave, and Stelsa probably wants to leave with Tisius. That's probably what's going to be going on here.
She then gives us the manual of the control panel that was in the airlock and asks if we can get Gallic to give us the access logs, as well as asking Reader to look over the places we searched before and scour for clues. Back in the guest room, we chat with the two lovely ladies about their relationship, tell Stelsa that her new fit is absolutely fire because it is true, like, damn girl. Oh, and also we ask her what's her take on all this murder and whatnot or something. She thinks that this is just some freak accident, which honestly, considering Alternative being the shit show that it is, I wouldn't rule it out. Leaving the ladies to themselves, we head to the cargo bay to find a maintenance log. Going to the airlock, we interact with the control panel and obtain an error code sequence involving the airlock function itself. Heading back to the office, we try to get into Gallic's computer to no avail. Investigating the bookshelf gives us a heavily modified Kismesis contract, which shows that Gallic feels that his previous contract was too harsh, as well as showing some flush feelings for Tagora. Let me remind you that vacillating, where you and your hate buddy can suddenly have lover feelings, and vice versa, is frowned upon in troll culture, so a high-ranking government worker, as well as a high blood having such feelings, is very dangerous. Backtracking to the bridge to ask Gallic to give us permission to view the airlock access log, he gives it willingly. Lastly, we circle back to the cargo bay and find a toolbox manifest that I personally overlooked. And with that, we finally have everything we need to start the final trial. But before we do, we get a talk from both Tisius and Tagora separately, confirming that they want their respective outcomes for this case. Whoever we bring will be the direction the trial goes down. Either bring Tisius and shake Gallic's faith in the system by revealing the truth, or bring Tagora and try and gaslight Gallic into thinking his life is actually in danger. With Tisius in tow, we're finally going to shine a light on this case.
Round 1. Ready to rock? Fight!
I know this isn't easy, but it's the right thing to do.
I'm really not sure about that. This feels like a very high risk, low reward kind of thing. You're not really feeling great about that.
Sometimes the best thing to do isn't the easiest thing to do. So let's do the best thing.
You look out then in the eyes. You say evenly, there never was murder on the ship because there was never a murder.
That's a very bold thing to say. Do you have any proof of this? Honestly, I don't even know why you're wasting my time on this. There was clearly evidence that a murder was committed. You may dismiss it as paranoia, but you are objectively incorrect.
This isn't going to be easy. He's convinced that someone tried to kill him. You aren't going to be able to break that down all at once.
You should take this a pleading look. She wouldn't happen to know how you're gonna break that down. She shrugs.
A little bit at a time. Start by introducing doubt, and pry things open from there.
After pressing the second statement about how everyone is in agreement that it was murder, we present Stealth's statement about how she thinks it's all a big accident. We establish that Gallic is losing his shit over something that hasn't even happened, solely because of his paranoia. He then asks Tisius to testify on what she knows about the case. Despite accusing her of murder about an hour ago, she agrees.
Round 2. Lawyer up!
Yeah, I investigated the crime scene. A few things that just didn't really add up. Not that anyone's asking me for my opinion.
I really wish you could talk to Tisius, but there's no way to get a message to her with Gallic standing right there, especially given the whole supporting the rebellion thing you've kind of got going on here. But you think you can tease this out. You look at Tisius and she nods slightly, okay? So there's something in there, something she's saying that's designed to lead you down the path you need to go.
These next few parts right here are the reason this recording was an extra 25 minutes long. I could not for the life of me get past the lines of logic. Even worse, when they ask you to submit evidence, you are denied the ability to even save or look at the chat log to jog your memory. So, the best I can do is filling evidence around and hope one sticks. Of course, I could just be bad at these types of games despite playing Danganronpa's 1 and 2, and Ask Little Ace Attorney, as well as Professor Layton games, so I refuse to believe it's a skill issue. Okay, so, you press her second statement and say that the blood is what was off about the crime scene. Despite there being 3 pieces of evidence that involves blood, you're gonna have to present them at specific moments. Time to go rapid fire on this. Firstly, we present the blood splatters on the floor. She then asks you where does the blood lead, to which we present the blood on the airlock door, which she bounces off of to ask why all the blood was there in the first place. We then present the airlock's error code. Gallic jumps in, saying that it's all hogwash and demands an explanation. After failing and restarting, presenting the tool manifest will net you progress, to my bafflement.
Is it the tools? No. Would it be? That's the only other thing I can think of is that it's the tools. I'm gonna keep throwing myself out here until...
Now you're seeing the picture.
What? What? Huh? Are you shitting me? Huh? You're, what? What? Are you for fucking real? Hello? What? I'm not crazy, right? That makes no goddamn sense, right? That's not just me, right? What? Are you shitting me? I've been at this for an hour and 15 minutes, and now you're telling me this bullshit? Are you kidding me? I'm not playing this up. I am legit fucking curious and annoyed that it's like something that doesn't seem to make much sense. It's only vaguely makes sense. It wasn't just the airlock. Now that I'm thinking about it, it does make sense. Motherfucker, I hate this.
Tisius asks what was the last thing they did to make this all so confusing, and we present the bloody handprints. Gallic is stunned in his realized stupidity.
Oh my god, we're still going. Oh!
I just can't understand how I could be so disconnected from reality. But you're telling me, showing me, that there's no way that this could have been a murder. What am I even supposed to do about this?
Shit. He's so close to getting it, but he's so fucking stubborn.
Yeah, he's stubborn. That one adjective you just described him. Also, perhaps very willing to execute people over nothing. That's kind of a mouthful to say.
Keep your shit together. There's something in here we can push him on. That last bit over the edge.
So, I got one of the secret endings by fucking up at this point and presenting a damning piece of evidence. I won't tell you what, just so you know that it's a thing and not let my cock up go to waste. Once more, for the final time, you press every statement and present the amended Kismesis agreement on the first statement. He pieces it together on why he thought anyone would want him killed. Because of his vacillation with Tagora. The Empire doesn't take kindly to Quadrant vacillation, and Gallic was paranoid that he would get Agent 47. Understandably so, since the Empire is fucking nuts. We've shown Gallic the light, and because of his help, we are erased from the Empire's kill list. The volume was a good one, and I am a sucker for Ace Attorney-like gameplay, but just like Ace Attorney, it has the occasional bullshit leap in logic that doesn't become visible until you present the correct evidence. Overall, it was nice seeing these characters again. We'll be seeing more Tizzies and Stelzas specifically later on in Volume 2 as well, so more fun with the gals. Anyway, that's all I got. Like the content if you like it, comment if you feel the need to, and if you keep coming back for more, why not subscribe to keep updated on my wonky uploading. Until then, see y'all in the next video. Deuces.